House needs a new septic system. Can the seller renegotiate the offer? And this is always a tough one because septic systems are pretty costly to repair or replace. Well, it depends upon if we have an executed contract and if the contract is verbal or written. For now, we're going to ignore verbal contracts because they're incredibly difficult to enforce. An executed contract requires two things: a meeting of the minds, which is an agreement on terms with signatures in exchange of something valuable, typically money. At that point, we have an executory contract, which is when both parties are required to perform actions in order to necessitate the transaction. So the first question is whether you have a fully executory contract. Let's assume you don't. With no fully executory contract, all items are up for discussion, including purchase price, closing date, down payments, credits, and so on. Well, what does this mean to you? Well, nothing really. The sellers have proposed a counteroffer, so they're attempting to negotiate with you, even though they're not in a powerful position to do so. You see, lenders require a property to have three things for traditional financing: a way to remove human waste, a way to heat the home, and a way to prepare food. Now, assuming you're not a cash buyer, a failed septic will derail your financing unless you switch to renovation financing, which comes with a higher interest rate and a higher closing cost. Or the seller could deposit 1.5 times the cost of a new system into an escrow account. So what do? Well, if the seller attempts to renegotiate the purchase price to account for their expense of a new septic system, push back. Because here's the reality. First, sellers believe a new septic system will increase their home's value versus a home with an older system. It doesn't. It may provide some form of assurance to a buyer, but it doesn't change the value of the home because the home needs a waste system. Second, the pool of buyers for the home will shrink dramatically because only cash buyers or those with renovation financing can move forward. The reality is that both of those pools of buyers are looking for a deal. Third, if the home stays on the market, the seller will need to disclose a failed septic, which will dramatically decrease the number of buyers interested while increasing the number of investors looking for a deal. Lastly, installing a new septic takes time, typically from 5 to 15 weeks, and it requires perk testing to determine the soil's drainage rate. Now keep in mind that some towns restrict perk testing to specific times of the year. Also need engineering design plans, Board of Health review and approval, system installation, and a certificate of compliance. The reality here is that you hold all the cards. So in summary, be firm. Tell the seller you're not interested in paying more because a new septic does not change the value of the home. This is something the seller will need to address regardless of whether or not you stay engaged in the transaction. The burden is on the seller.